Tuesday, May 7th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. We would normally do the Mosseri Monday questions. There wasn't a show yesterday, but we would do that today. We will do that, but first I want to talk about the news because there is something incredibly important we have to discuss. Earlier today, TikTok posted on their newsroom page of their website, quote, "Today we filed a petition in federal court seeking to overturn the unconstitutional TikTok ban," end quote. I pulled up the petition that they filed and took some time to read through it. It's very long, about 77 pages, and I will link to it in the show notes so you can check it out. But here's essentially the gist of it, and I'll read just a little bit. Quote, "Congress has taken the unprecedented step of expressly singling out and banning TikTok, a vibrant online forum for protected speech and expression used by 170 million Americans to create, share, and view videos over the internet. For the first time in history, Congress has enacted a law that subjects a single, named speech platform to a permanent, nationwide ban and bars every American from participating in a unique online community with more than 1 billion people worldwide. That law, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act, is unconstitutional. Banning TikTok is so obviously unconstitutional, in fact, that even the Act's sponsors recognize that reality and therefore have tried mightily to depict the law not as a ban at all, but merely a regulation of TikTok's ownership. According to its sponsors, the Act responds to TikTok's ultimate ownership by ByteDance Limited, a company with Chinese subsidiaries whose employees support various ByteDance businesses, including TikTok. They claim that the Act is not a ban because it offers ByteDance a choice: divest TikTok's US business or be shut down. But in reality, there is no choice. The qualified divestiture demanded by the Act to allow TikTok to continue operating in the United States is simply not possible. Not commercially, not technologically, not legally, and certainly not on the 270-day timeline required by the Act. Petitioners have repeatedly explained this to the U.S. government, and sponsors of the Act were aware that divestment is not possible. There is no question the Act will force a shutdown of TikTok by January 19th, 2025, silencing the 170 million Americans who use the platform to communicate in ways that cannot be replicated elsewhere, end quote. It goes on for many pages, but you get the high points from just those couple of sections that I read. So what does TikTok want in this situation? They're asking the court to hand down a judgment that says the Biden administration's law violates the U.S. Constitution, and they want an order preventing the Attorney General from enforcing that law. I'm trying to stay as objective as possible in this whole situation, but I will link to the petition in the show notes so you can read it for yourself. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the questions from Mosseri Monday, including updates on some of the news that we've been talking about recently with more context around it so you can understand how it impacts you specifically. So stay tuned. And we're back. Let's dive into the questions the head of Instagram answered on his Ask Me Anything. Recently, we talked about how Instagram was going to take steps to start rewarding small creators in the algorithm, giving them a chance to have their content seen by accounts that don't follow them. The question, how does Instagram define small creators? This is an excellent question. If I had to guess, I would say that Instagram defines a small creator as someone who has less than 10,000 followers, but here's Adam's answer.
There isn't a strict follower count maximum or anything like that. We just try to make sure that all content gets a chance to be shown to people who do not follow your account. So that just benefits small accounts more because generally they have historically been less often considered. Or just qualitatively, I think less than 10,000 followers is a relatively small creator, but that's the vast majority of creators. Well over 90% of creators have less than 10,000 followers.
Okay, no specific number, but nice to hear that 10,000. I had a guess that that was where he was headed. The next question has to do with another announcement that I talked about recently, how Instagram was going to be taking steps to give credit to the original creators of content and aggregator accounts that pull together viral clips to show them on aggregator pages would not get as much of a reward as they had in the past because the original creators would be rewarded instead. As a result, there would be more need for aggregator pages to creatively repackage that content, maybe by making an opinion on it or doing something to enhance that content. The question, how can aggregators make content their own so that they can still be recommended?
That's a great question. Essentially, you just need to edit it. So if you did a green screen video on top of it, or you made a photo into a meme, or you just made it your own by significantly editing it as opposed to just exact copying it and pretending like it's your own, then it is what we would think of as original, or at least mixed original. And that's the kind of content we think is great.
It's funny because Gary Vee has been saying for a long time that you need to add your 2 cents to a conversation, but I think it's a similar idea. Don't just take that piece of content and repost it, add your 2 cents in, report on it, show why it's relevant, give it context, all sorts of different things like that will add value to whatever it is that you're sharing. So you may be wondering, all these new changes that we talked about with respect to the Instagram algorithm, are they going to be impacting Threads at all? Which would be a very valid question. The question, do this week's updates about recommendations apply to Threads?
No, they're actually just for Instagram. We are exploring similar ideas for Threads. We do share a lot of the same infrastructure, but right now there's a lot of other things to do to improve Threads ranking. But originality is absolutely on the list of things to pursue.
And the last question we're going to talk about today has to do with Adam Mosseri's profile picture. If you haven't seen it, he has sort of an AI cartoonish looking profile picture, and the person is asking, how can we get that AI as our profile pic like yours? His answer actually surprises me because you don't need a separate app or tool in order to do it.
One great way is to use Meta AI. Just go to chat with it in Instagram. You can go to your DMs to find it and then ask it to imagine that character and describe the character you want, or describe anything you want. And then you can just use it as a profile pic or for whatever else you'd like to.
Hey, it's all about learning to use the tools that you have more effectively. Am I right? Sometimes you don't need a new tool. Sometimes you already have everything that you need. That is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening, and be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, or other things that you need to know. And now, the rap song.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager, but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually, that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work, without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish, unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no wrist clap, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.